My name's Kaye Allen. I've come because I've got a condition that I'm hoping that this treatment will help me to rectify or alleviate it to some degree. A year ago, just before my 70th birthday, I found that I had a brain tumour. It was benign. It was successfully removed with brain surgery. After the brain surgery, I appeared to recover completely, but I became aware that I still had issues with my balance, that I was unsteady on my feet, and when I considered it carefully, I realized that I had a constant rocking motion. When I sit, when I stand, when I lie down, it feels as though I'm on a rocking boat. And after I did some research on it and worked with a physical therapist, I found that it appears that what I have is called debarquement syndrome, which is a rocking motion syndrome where you are permanently in a rocking state, where it feels to me that everything underneath me is moving. So when I stand up, it feels like, and when I'm walking, it feels like the surface underneath me is moving. I can get by with it. When I fly and when I'm tired, it's more extreme, and it affects the way I walk. I've changed my gait a little bit so that I have better balance, but I think my balance is worse, and I'm concerned that I have to hold on to things. I have to hold on to my husband. When I go up and down stairs, I have to be very careful holding on to things. And I'm concerned that at some stage I could fall because of it. The doctors that I've seen a neurologist, and of course I've just seen my general practitioner, and they've told me to take physical therapy. And what I've read, there isn't really any clear solutions for it. So I've done a lot of physical therapy. Balance exercises, I did them for 40 days, and then I did another series for 40 days. I went to see a neurologist. He couldn't really offer me anything that was helpful. So that's really all that I've been able to do. And I'm looking to try and find if there's something that will help it to go away. I've been given some papers, I've read those, of studies that have been done about it, and I see that they have some sort of electric shock therapy that has sometimes been helpful, but that's about as much as I know. I continue to experience it, and I don't know if it's going to get worse, if it's going to increase. Sometimes, like when I take a long plane trip, I am very exhausted afterwards because of this. It's more intense. It's almost difficult for me to stand up or to walk after I've been on a long flight. Somehow it makes me feel very tired. Mm-hmm. It makes me feel, when I compare it, I feel like what I felt after I had my surgery, a very deep sort of tiredness. There's sometimes some sensitivity between dark and light, like for instance when I went to the aquarium and I go into a dark room and then come into a light room. It was somehow it was difficult for me to adapt, and I think it might be affecting some of my mental capacity. I've read, and I think it's the case that it sometimes can make me feel depressed. I don't know if that's a factor but I think it may be one of the impacts that it has on me, and those are some of the things that I'm experiencing. Go ahead.
Well, just what's going on, what's your legs, and she goes up.
Okay, and Kay, you can go ahead. I'll be here to support you.
Okay.
Can you come down first of all without holding on?
Yes.
Let's try that.
Yeah. Okay.
And I got you here in case. But you can see how she waves a bit here. It's not so comfortable.
Yeah, usually I would hold on.
So if you walk straight down to the, we're going to get you to the room on the left.
Okay.
So just watch her legs and you see how she tends to wave, and her upper body as well. So back up and you can see her whole body here. You can see how she tends to wobble a bit. Yeah. Good. Okay. That's good. So you go ahead and start marching with her eyes closed, but you'll see that she does tend to slide forward here, and also obviously she goes a bit to her side, but she tends to move to a bit to the right and going forward. That's good. That's good. Okay. All right. So you moved from where you first started. She started way here and then she ended up over there. So that's good. We'll test you immediately after we finish your treatment again.
Okay, great.
To see
Yeah.
how it alters or
Sure.
it doesn't.
Yep.
We'll know
Fine.
either way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think what you can see here is quite evident. The right shoulder is way down on her. And I'm going to place this on her. And you can see she's pretty much off the scale here. So she's probably about 7 degrees off. This is a 0 to 10 and this is 0 to 5. So she's gone way over. It's just her whole body's drooping on this side. And we're getting the same sort of thing here, where you can see she's tilting again, listing over to the right. And if I had her lifting up her right heel, we'd get it to straight. There we go. That's normal. You know, when you consider that she's had, surgery, cranial surgery, and she has all of this going on, naturally her whole body, her, the junction here, the head and neck, the cervical, cranial-cervical junction, C1, and then the whole vertebrae all the way down to her hip, the torsion inside, and the associated stress on the spinal cord, which is deep inside here, and on the tissue coming, the brain tissue and the nervous tissue that is all extending right down. You can well imagine what sort of stress that puts on her, day in and day out, every morning, afternoon, evening, and night. She has to go through this experience. So, and it's unrelenting. And so correcting it, precisely and accurately, and then stimulating the tissue all the way from the brain, all the way down in all the regions where there's compromise, that's going to be the task at hand here. So go ahead and push up against me. Now this is a complex movement she has to do with her brain more than the arm. Push up again really hard, and you'll see that she's bringing her feet up. I don't know if you saw that, in order to try to recruit. Here, hold again, push up really hard, and you'll see that she's really struggling. I mean, I'm not pushing very hard, but this is a very big challenge for her from a cognitive perspective to try and respond. We'll do the same thing here. And again, her whole body's listing over. She's unable to push up really hard. Yeah, and you see that she's kind of having to struggle with this. Push up really hard again. So you can see she's struggling. She's got her neck muscles, which are nice and tight. They're pulling on one side to try and push up really hard. So you can see how she's using all her flexor muscles here to try and keep this leg from going, from sliding down. Good. You can.
Treatment starting. Treatment starting.
Just drop your arms to your side. Yeah, no, we got it. It's about 2.5 here. It's about 3, I'd say. It's still very close to being where it was, and that's not likely going to change too much more. But okay, can you go ahead and stand up again? And this time I'd like you to march over here. And let's see how you do with your eyes closed. Wow, this is amazing. And you can stop now. Maybe that's fine. She did
Stay in
end
one
up
spot.
moving very close to it there. Yeah, there was a little movement, but
Yeah.
very little, very
Yeah.
little. She was just walking like this when she was going, and so that's showing me
It's
you know,
weird.
quite a bit
Why
of
would have
difference
done?
here.
Why was I doing that?
Yeah, that is just the way the brain works. Up to there and back. Just check her out now. I mean, you can see the whole torso is so balanced, isn't it? That's great. You can turn around now, and feeling of that sway, is that still there?
It's actually I'm just trying to think of. I can still feel the rocking, but it doesn't seem to be quite so.
Pronounced.
No. And the swaying, I think, is. I feel more steady on my feet. A little bit more steady on my feet.
Well, I think the real thing here is we're going to need to see how much, you know, what kind of a rise in your IQ we're going to get out of it, so you don't get lost next time you go down to the mall.
Really?
Well, let's see how it goes. But
Yeah.
it's all good. I mean, this is what we wanted. It's just the first treatment.
Yeah, sure.
We're going to,
Yeah,
of course, follow up.
Yeah, great.
Monitor you
Yeah,
quite
great.
closely over the next few days.
Sounds great.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. Yep. All right.
That's amazing.
Well, it's all about. I mean, if it doesn't do this, there's no point. There's no point having this circus
It's
here.
incredible. It's just
It
incredible.
has to manifest.
Yeah, but
Otherwise,
the fluidity of her movement, she doesn't realize. Again, it's hard to feel that about yourself. Is your movements were so halting and reticent, and you're just like walking like normal.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna, you know, we need this all to
Yeah.
take form in a very nice
Yeah,
way.
it's just minutes.
And
Yeah. Absolutely.
all the applications, from the spinal applications to the up here and everything, I think that's got to all come together in the next few days. So it couldn't happen to a nicer person.
Thank you.
Excellent.
So grateful for you.
You're on the right